So now the real question is, why even bother with data warehousing, right? So I mentioned to you guys that, data warehousing, I talked about OLTP database. So now, why do we bother this? Why can't we just say, okay, well, you know what, let's put the data warehousing on hold, let's not do that. Let's just, use OLTP for everything. Well, here's the thing, OLTP systems are great, right? So if you're taking computer science here or you're a computer science student here, then that's what you're probably learning. You're probably learning things like SQL, Oracle, you're using systems like OLTP. And those are great because they do what they're supposed to do very efficiently. And they work fairly well for quite large set of data. So if you have a table of 1 billion records, then for OLTP systems, that's not a problem. That will work. And it'll work fast, okay? So that's cool. But then if you're talking about data warehouse, like let's consider Walmart, for instance. Okay, so Walmart, some estimates put its data warehouse at 500 terabytes in size. Okay, so 500 terabytes. We're not talking about a few records here. Okay? We're not talking about a few billion records. We're talking about billions and billions of records. Okay, so if you take all that data and put it into an OLTP system, then all of a sudden you have the problem of performance. Okay, so whereas before you were able to interact with your system and do things quite fast, you lose all that as soon as you put that much data into your system. Okay, and the real problem comes with the fact that we're using normalization. So because OLTP systems are normalized, this typically results in more tables. Okay, and more tables means that when you want to actually do some sort of database operation, you have to actually create more join statements. Okay, so join is a pretty used, very often used command in databases, and really what that does is that it connects two or more tables together to gather some sort of logical data from these tables. And since the joins are so expensive, as soon as you start joining a bunch of tables in OLTP systems that contain a lot of data, well, obviously the performance dies quickly because you have a lot of disk IOs, and then things just don't happen as well as you would hope anymore, right? So data warehousing, because it uses denormalization, it makes things simpler. Okay, there's less tables, and they can interact better, and the performance isn't lost. That's why data warehousing has become so important. Okay, so I mean, these are just some fun stats, but I mean, I think we all know that Walmart is quite a big corporate giant, and in fact, basically the bottom line is that it's one of the highest grossing companies in the world, right? So just to get an idea here, so for those of us who have sat down and written queries for databases and whatnot, you might have asked yourself, okay, well, how valuable is this statement? I mean, what am I getting out of this? And chances are, if you're working with a lot of smaller scale systems, those queries are probably not worth that much. Okay, so yeah. So, but in contrast, data warehousing queries tend to be worth more money. So by some estimate, in 1990, apparently each data warehousing query was worth approximately $12,000. Okay, so you can imagine that every time a manager generates some kind of report, that report is going to bring in $12,000 extra. Okay, and that was in 1990. So data warehousing queries tend to be very beneficial for the corporation using it, especially Walmart because it's so large. So finally, just to finish off here, since I'm running short on time, just want to quickly mention some of my research. I'm currently about to finish my undergraduate at Concordia, and I'm involved in, I'm going to be involved in this 10-year research project that Concordia started off. And the idea is to basically build an in-house data warehousing system. And my focus really is going to be on creating an OLAP modeler. Okay, so earlier I showed you guys two models, a relational model and a star schema. Both of these models are generated using tools, and basically my focus is going to be to create a web application that will actually allow you to create relationships between different OLAP models to build dimension and fact tables. And that's pretty much where I'm at. That's basically the end of my talk. So again, thank you. Hopefully there'll be a follow-up talk where I can go into more detail about what data warehousing is, right? So thanks a lot.